Somewhere in your house tonight, there is a piece of paper or a screen with a line on it that reads $14.99, billed on the 3rd of the month every month, to something you have not opened since spring. You did not sign anything this month. Nobody knocked. The charge simply arrived, the way it arrived last month, the way it will arrive next month, quiet as a cat crossing a porch, and it left again with your money. Now do the small piece of arithmetic nobody at that company wants you to do. That one line is $180 a year for a thing you have forgotten you own. Let me tell you about my grandmother Della, who ran a house out on County Road 6 outside Tipton, Indiana, straight through the Great Depression, and paid not one single charge like it. Not one. These are the charges they quietly rent you by the month, and Della paid none of them. Not because she was clever, and not because she was rich. She was neither. She paid none of them because she understood one thing the modern world has spent 60 years teaching you to forget: the keeping and the saving that a company now rents back to you by the month, your grandmother did once for free and owned forever after. That is the whole video, and I am not going to make you wait for it the way they make you wait on hold. I am Granny Pearl. I keep Della's habits alive in the farmhouse she would still recognize, and my only business here is to help you spend less, waste nothing, and keep the wisdom the supermarket and the app store would both rather you forget. So, settle in and hit that subscribe button now while you are thinking of it, because I am about to name 5 charges they rent you by the month and hand you Della's free version of every one. Number 3 is the one drawing money out of the socket in your wall right now, tonight, while the house sleeps and nobody is watching. We will get there. The villain in this one has a plain name, and the name is the subscription economy. The business of turning a thing you used to own into a thing you rent forever. Here is the part you have to hold on to, because if you miss it, the rest will not stick. A subscription is not a price. A price is a thing you pay once, and then the thing is yours. A subscription is a faucet left running in a room you stopped walking into. The genius of it, and I will give the devil his due, it is genius, is that the amount is always small enough to ignore, and the billing is always quiet enough to forget. Nobody would pay $180 in one lump for a thing they never use, but $14.99 on the 3rd of the month, 12 times, feels like nothing each time it happens. That is the trick. They did not raise the price on you. They just made the price invisible. Della's whole life was built on the opposite instinct, on making every cent visible. And that instinct is the free version of everything I am about to show you. So, number 1, the app that tells you where your money went. It is the first charge they rent you, and it is the one that makes me laugh the hardest. They have built and sold you a monthly subscription whose entire job is to notice the other subscriptions. You are paying a company every month to watch your money leave. Della did that job herself with a notebook she kept in her apron pocket, a stub of pencil, and 10 minutes at the end of the day. Here is how she did it, and here is how you do it, and it cost you nothing but the 10 minutes. At the end of the day, you write down every cent that left your hands, the stamp, the newspaper, the penny candy, the gallon of gas, all of it, on its own line. At the end of the week you add it up, and you sit it next to what came in. That number, the one at the bottom, is the truth your feelings will argue with. Do it for a single month, and the pattern jumps off the page. This is not my invention, and it is not a fad. A woman named Lydia Maria Child wrote it down in a little book called The American Frugal Housewife in 1832. You can read it free tonight. It is on Project Gutenberg, and her line has never been improved on. She wrote that it is wise to keep an exact account of all you expend, even of a paper of pins, because it makes you more careful in the spending, and it lets you judge whether the family is living within its income. A paper of pens, in 1832. The woman was auditing her own pen money before your bank had a logo. I am not too proud to tell you, I found a charge on my own statement 2 winters ago that had been billing me every month for the better part of a year, and I never once used the thing. $14 a month for a service I signed up for to watch one show. One. And then forgot the way you forget a cellar door left open. The notebook is what found it, not an app. A 99-cent notebook and the nerve to look. So the first free version is the plainest one. Before you can cut a single charge, you have to be able to see it, and the seeing is a pencil, not a purchase. Let me plant one thing here and hold it hard, because I mean it. Nothing I am telling you tonight is financial advice. I am a grandmother with a notebook, not a broker and not your accountant. What you save depends on your house, your prices and where you live, and it will not be the same as your neighbours. I am telling you what Della did, and what the plain arithmetic on your own statement says, and then I am getting out of the way. The numbers I give you are the ones the government and these old books put in writing. The rest is yours to check. Number 2. The charge you forgot you were paying. This is the one the account book from number 1 goes looking for first, not the one you use and grumble about, the one that renewed itself in the dark, a free trial that turned into a paying one on day 31 while you were asleep, a yearly fee, $99, that hides between the monthly charges so cleanly that you scroll right past it because it only shows its face once a year. An old service you replaced with a newer one and never went back to cancel. So now you are paying 2 companies to do the one job. The free version is a chore, not a purchase, which is exactly why they are betting you will not do it. Pull your last 3 months of statements, not 1 month, 3, because the annual charges and the quarterly ones will not show themselves in 30 days, and 1 month alone flatters the picture and lets you off the hook. Go down every line and highlight anything that repeats. Then hold each one up to a single hard question. Have I actually used this in the last 60 days? And could I live a whole year without it? What fails that question, you cancel. And before you cancel, look for the cheaper tier they never advertise, the one they only mention when you have your thumb on the door. Look hard too for the doubles, because they are the easiest money you will ever save. 2 apps that play the same music, 2 places you are paying to keep the same photographs. You need one. When you are done, set a reminder on the calendar for 6 months out to run the whole sweep again, because a new charge will have crept in by then. It always does. Now, I could stand here and tell you the average family wastes some official-sounding number a month on this, and it would sound authoritative, and I will not do it because there is no honest national figure for it, and anybody who gives you one is guessing at you. The true number is not an average. The true number is written on your own statement, in your own charges, and it is waiting there for you tonight. I have watched people find $30. I have watched them find $100. The reason it is such good business for them is that a small charge is the hardest thing in the world to notice and the easiest thing in the world to keep. Della had a word for a leak like that. She called it creep. And the only cure for creep is a hard look, once, on purpose. Number 3. the thief that hides behind the wall socket. This is the one I promised you, and I saved it for the middle on purpose, because it is the one nobody believes until they see it. This charge is not on any statement with a company's name on it. It is on your electric bill, buried, and it is money you are renting to your own machines to do nothing at all. They call it standby power. Your grandmother would have called it paying the light company to keep the lamp lit in an empty room all night, every night, forever. Let me tell you exactly what it is. Nearly everything in your house that has a little blowing clock, or a light that stays on, or a remote it answers to, is never truly off. The television that is off is not off. The cable box, the game console, the coffee maker with the green numbers, the phone charger with nothing on the end of it, the printer you use twice a year. They are all sipping current around the clock, warm and quiet, waiting. And this next figure is not mine to argue with. It comes straight from the Department of Energy, and you can look it up tonight. Standby power runs somewhere between 5 and 10% of the electricity a home uses, and it can cost the average American household as much as $100 a year. $100. To power the machines you thought you had switched off. I put a switch strip behind my own television. The winter Della's account book finally shamed me into it, and I flip it off the way she banked the stove at night, without thinking about it anymore. That is the free version, and it costs about $8 for the strip once. You take the whole nest of things that live together, the TV and the box and the console, and you plug them into one power strip with a switch on it. When you go to bed, you flip the one switch, and the entire nest is truly off, not pretending. For the solo offenders, the spare refrigerator humming in the garage for 6 cans of soda, the printer, the thing you use less than once a week, you pull the plug and that is the end of it. Leave the actual refrigerator and the freezer and anything medical alone. Those stay on, always. If you want to see it with your own eyes, go and look at your electric meter at 3 in the morning, when the whole house is dark and asleep, and you are sure nothing is on. It will still be creeping forward. That creep is almost all standby, and it is spinning your money whether you are awake to watch it or not. But the rest of it, the quiet sippers, you have been renting them a current all night for years. Della paid the light company for the light she used. You have been paying yours for the dark. Number 4. The bill you can lower with one phone call. It is the opposite of the 3 before it. Those were charges to cancel. This one you are going to keep and pay less for. And all it costs you is a telephone call and the nerve to make it. Look at the bills you truly use and do not want to lose. The internet, the phone, the insurance, the cable if you still keep it. Every one of those companies has a price they quote a brand new customer, and a different higher price they quietly leave sitting on you, the loyal one, the one who never calls. They are counting on your loyalty the very same way the forgotten subscription counts on your forgetting. Loyalty to a company like that is only a word for a customer who has stopped shopping around. The call itself is simple, and Della would have made it without blinking, because she never once believed the first price was the only price. Before you dial, look up what a new customer pays for the very same service, so you have a real number in your hand. Then you call, and you say it plainly. I have been a loyal customer for years. I'm looking at my rate, and I'm considering switching. If the first person cannot help you, you ask politely for the retention department, and you use those exact words, retention department, because that is the desk with the authority to keep you. That desk exists for one reason. It exists because a few people call and most people never do. You mention the competitor's price. You ask them to match it or come close. And you write down the name of the person you spoke to, the date, and the new rate before you hang up. Because a promise you cannot prove is a promise they are free to forget. I have sat at my own kitchen table with the bill in one hand and the telephone in the other and talked a company down $12 a month in about 11 minutes. And $12 a month is a tank of gas by Christmas. Now, I cannot promise you they will say yes, and I will not pretend otherwise, because it depends on the company and the day and the person who answers the phone. Some will not. But I can promise you the other half of it. The rate never once comes down for the customer who stays quiet. Child wrote, back in 1832, that no false pride should ever make a person spend 1 cent beyond the income he is certain of. And there is no pride so expensive as the pride that will not pick up the telephone and ask. The worst word they can say is no, and no leaves you exactly where you already stood. Number 5. The keeping they rent back to you. This is the deepest one, the one that is really the whole point, so stay with me to the end of it. The 4 before it were all a company renting you back something you could plainly see once you bothered to look. This last one is different. This one is a company renting you back the single thing Della's whole life was built to do for free, which is to keep. To keep food, to keep warmth, to keep what you already had from going bad or going out the door. That is what a cellar is. That is what a spring house is. That is what a canning shelf is. They are not quaint. They are a house that keeps its own food without a monthly fee, because keeping was a skill you owned, not a service you rented. And now look at what has happened to keeping. It has been sliced into 100 little subscriptions and upsells, each one selling you back a piece of what Della simply did. The pre-cut, the pre-washed, the packaged in the special bag with the word fresh printed on it in green, the sold to you at a markup for the freshness your own cold pantry gave you for the price of a shelf. I am not going to stand here and tell you to dig a root cellar under your kitchen tonight. And I am not going to hand you a canning method over a video, because keeping food wrong is dangerous, and I will never tell you a thing that is not true. But I will tell you the frame, because the frame is the free version. Every time a package charges you extra to keep a thing fresh, ask yourself what Della kept fresh for nothing, and how. Cool, dark, dry, and looked after. The keeping was never the hard part. The forgetting was the product they sold. So there they are, the 5 charges they rent you by the month. The app that watches your money, and its free version is a notebook. The subscription you forgot, and its free version is 3 months of statements and 1 hard question. The thief behind the wall socket, and its free version is an $8 strip and a flipped switch. The rate you never once questioned, and its free version is a telephone call to the retention desk. And the fresh-kept things sold back to you, whose free version is the oldest skill in the house, the skill of keeping what you have. Della paid none of the 5. She did all 5 herself, and the doing of them was not a burden. It was simply how a person lived who intended to keep what she earned. I want to leave you with the account book, because it is where we started, and it is where this ends. That little notebook in the apron pocket was not about pennies. Child said it herself in 1832, that keeping the account made you more careful, and made the leak visible, and that the seeing was worth more than the pennies. Della was not counting because she was poor. She was counting because a thing you can see, you can stop, and a thing you cannot see will bleed you in the dark for years and call it $14.99. The companies renting you by the month are betting their whole business every quarter on one thing. They are betting you will not look. That is the entire wager. Not that you cannot afford to cancel, that you will never open the statement and add it up. So this week, before the 3rd of the month comes around again, get yourself a notebook, a real one, and open the last 3 statements and add it up. Find the one charge that has been quiet in the dark. Cancel it and do not miss it, and know that the pencil that found it cost less than a single month of the thing you just killed. That is Della's whole inheritance, handed down. Not a system, not an app, not a subscription. A pencil, a hard look, and the nerve to keep what is yours. Tell me down in the comments, what is the one monthly charge you cancelled and never once missed? Name it plainly, because the next person reading might have the very same line quiet on their own statement, and your one word might be the thing that finally makes them look. This is Granny Pearl, and I will leave the porch light on for you.